That we do pledge of allegiance on at 7. That work? All right. Let's go. We don't need to do pledge, do we? Yeah.
I don't think we did last time, no.
No, we didn't.
Yeah.
We just did it at 7.
Yeah.
So we're not doing it twice.
Yeah.
All right. So, review 2022 city goals. Yes. Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Compton. Emerling Baker.
You're muted, Anise.
Here.
Farrell. Here. Happy.
Here.
Keller.
Here.
Miller.
Here.
Mayor Fallon.
Here. All right. Thank you for the reminder. All right. Thank you, everybody, to come a little early, and so we can go over this. All right, Jordan.
So in your packet are the council goals, selected January of 2022. Yeah, 2022. As well as what I can guess is kind of a running list of projects since Gordon's arrival in 2013, kind of listing what was completed, what the timeline was, and where we stand. So it's not exactly a 2022 list, but it does give us kind of an idea of goals that council or the city has completed since 2013.
Do you know between the green and the blue?
I don't know,
Because I
no.
was like, green, go, it's good. I'm like, wait a minute,
Yeah.
okay.
Oh, it's the departments.
Is it the
All the
departments?
city lights are blue.
Okay, thank you,
Okay.
thank you. All right,
Oh, yeah, you're right, yeah. The
Good job.
Lighter green looks like public works and the
administration.
darker green is administration, yeah.
I feel like there's things that are missing for the 2022, 2023 city council goals that we talked about last year. This doesn't look like it's is this the same file that we,
Mhm.
oh, never mind, there we go.
You
I see
have
it.
it.
Yep.
All right, should we start at the top? Public Works?
Yeah, sure.
So wastewater project with the sewer lines throughout town as well as the treatment plant. It has been pushed back due to funding and supply chain issues, but the new expected completion date is October of this year. So unless there's any major setbacks, knock on wood, it should be done this year.
Okay.
I think we can mark that off as number 1.
Yeah, so I mean, I'd say it's funding secured, we're 85% of the way there. The actual upgrade of the plant itself is the next step.
Okay.
Again, assuming no major issues.
Well, we can keep it on the list and then until it's done.
Yeah.
And then that'll be a check. Repair roof.
Is that here?
Yes, the roof here, has leaks, you've noticed. We've had buckets out in the hallway here a couple times when it rains. Kind of a 2-part funding. No one will pay for a new roof for a city hall. So we're also getting a solar panel system to go with it. So we asked for a grant from FEMA for the new roof and a grant from Oregon Department of Energy for the solar panel system. Both have been submitted. I just got word from ODO, Oregon Department of Energy, ODO. We passed the first round. We're now in the second round. We probably won't hear anything until end of May, early June if we're awarded. FEMA, on the other hand, which if they don't give us the money, we can't do the solar panel project because they're paying for the roof repair itself, will tell us sometime between June and December if we're awarded.
So is there any type of repairs we can do until then, so we're not using buckets and causing further damage, or
the whole thing seems to be done.
we can't patch?
I'm sure that, well, the problem is they can't find where it's coming in because it'll come in one spot, it'll roll down and come through. And so they've been up there for the last few years patching every spot you can think of, and it's still coming through.
Water's so,
It's whack-a-mole.
yeah. I just know with leaky roofs, if you don't take care of them, it just gets worse and worse and worse.
And so this goes back to the question I brought up a few months ago when we submitted the ODO grant. Is this building something we want to invest in? Or does council seriously want to look at a new city hall?
I think and that rolls right into our
Right,
Exactly, yeah,
right.
conversation. I was thinking the exact same thing about just the fact that it seems like this building's, gotten our useful life out of it. And,
Yeah.
right.
maybe it's time to look at other options as opposed to continue to throw,
Money down
money.
pit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So the real question is how long would this roof last in this condition? Can we live with it the way it is without it causing other issues that would be more problematic?
Yeah, that I don't know.
Because it's gonna be, it's not gonna be, even if we decide to move forward with the new municipal building, it's gonna be years before we probably.
5 years minimum.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah. Probably 10.
And then last year, it was said that building a new building would cost us like $7 million, but repair this one, $2 million. So,
What I was told, and this by Gordon, is to actually redo the inside of the building. It's about 2.5, that was $2019.
Yeah.
And then to seismically retrofit it is another 2.5. Again, $2019, so probably bump that up to 7. A new building, if we're looking at something like Moffin has, where it's a community civic center, where we're there, the port happens to be there, maybe the library moves there, whatever it is, whatever we can get to get funding, we're probably looking at, I roughly say 12 to 15 million. It's a very rough guess.
that seems crazy. How much did it cost to build Flex 6? Wasn't that like 4 to 5 million? That thing
Well,
is huge.
That's the shell still.
That's,
There's no interior work in there, it's just steel beams
And it was
and
built
paneling.
before,
but it's also
Yes,
a
it is.
40,000 square foot building.
Yeah, but that's not what's expensive about a building.
yeah.
It's all the drywall and the
How much was Moffin's?
studs and.
About 4 million, and that was about, I think that was pre-COVID.
Yeah.
Right, I think they got it done right before
Hmm.
COVID. Denise has her hand up.
Denise?
Hi, I remember we had this discussion when you asked us if we wanted to go ahead with the application for the grants, and we agreed that it would be good to get a free roof and free solar panels, even if we were just here temporarily and then did something else with the building. And if we can limp along, unless our staff are getting rained on or smelling mold, if we can limp along until we get that done. I didn't hear, Jordan, when might we hear from the solar panel grant?
End of May, early June.
And then the FEMA grant?
Anytime between June and December.
Oh, so we probably won't get it repaired this year unless it all comes in June. So my personal opinion is I thought at that time when we discussed this, we'd try to limp along as we also maybe consider looking, whether we talk to the port, we look for other grants, we look for combined building, but we keep looking for a more functional city hall anyway. This is not ideal in lots of ways. Anyway, that's my thought.
We are getting slightly off track, working at new goals instead of old ones, so yeah. Up to you guys, where you want to take the discussion.
Right. Oh, sorry.
You have direct impact on our old goals.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But that's the history behind the repair of the roof. I don't know, you might remember better than me. I think a previous council had decided they'd rather stick in this building because of those costs mentioned, instead of looking for any.
If I remember correctly, to retrofit and do windows and everything, it was way
Way
more
up.
than what you said,
Way up.
wasn't it more like 20?
Yeah, it was way up.
Really?
Million?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And he checked, he was hoping that we would get something because it's a historical building, but nothing. I was really surprised.
It's not historical enough, apparently.
Yeah.
I think for the amount of money, I'd rather have new with proper sprinkler systems and seismic. You know,
Wiring, yeah, I mean, construction oftentimes I think it's cheaper to build new than it is to actually remodel and retrofit, and
mhm,
this would be pretty much a gut and rebuild, you know,
mhm.
so.
And if I also remember correctly, it had to do with generators, because we only have that cat. That's supposed to be brought in, that Caterpillar generator.
Yeah.
And they thought new building, new generator built in
Mhm.
would be more feasible.
Not remember that part, sorry.
And at least a stairwell, there's a second floor.
Yes, well, elevator.
Or,
You
yes,
have to.
I know, please, at the Moffin, their second floor, they have no stairwell to get to it. So, yeah, that's another whole subject.
So again, I guess that's more for the community vision plan, where that goes, where council wants to go with long-term plans, that's the history.
So immediate goal would still be to try to get the roof fixed, but using
Yes.
grant dollars.
Yes.
Yeah, like we had talked about, you know, if we wanted to sell this building, saying, hey, brand new roof, just done 3 years ago, whatever time frame it is, will help us sell it.
Why, if we sold it, where are we gonna put city hall? I thought that'd be more or less a demolition and then rebuild.
Well, there might be other people who want to save the historical value of it, I don't know. Everybody keeps mentioning the commitments.
But where are we gonna put City Hall, I think was your question, and one of the ideas I've heard tossed around is over by the fire station.
The new fire station, I mean,
Mhm.
the operating one.
Yes, the wood current one, right, exactly.
I thought that was like on a pond or something.
Ford property.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I thought that part of the problem was the terrain, it was slanted, it was
I don't know.
okay.
So for now, is everybody good? We'll see if we can get the grants and, all right. And then the vision, we can talk about possible new buildings and all that. All right. Electrical.
I think for public works, we should try to add in Forest Lane there. And try to seek funding from the county, the state, for the county's part of the lane to widen it and add a bike path. Because with the, you know, bike path coming down the gorge, we're gonna get a lot more bikers coming through there.
Right. Well, let's stick to the old, let's get through this list.
So what we're doing right now is just
We're
reviewing
just
what's on
reviewing
there,
this list,
and
yes.
then adding, and then we'll, second is
Yes,
to add things onto it, okay.
yes, yeah, because I do agree with what
That's a
bike lane, but let's
really
get
good
through
point.
this list here. So,
So a lot of the older original underground lines are lines in the dirt, no conduit, nothing.
really,
Yes.
I didn't know that.
And Sunset, there's a part where it splits and they think there's an issue where it splits, and Derek explained it to me the other day. They had to put in an additional transformer for it. And essentially, it needs to be, the whole thing needs to be dug up with new conduit put in, and the transformers either removed or
So we still need to do that.
yes, we did. Yeah, the problem is, so it goes down Sunset, makes a Y, and then deadheads or hits transformers in backyards. They're in people's backyards.
Ooh.
Yes, exactly. Is the problem.
It's a big alley fire
Which the
hazard.
problem creates another problem.
Yeah.
So do those have to be moved? Or can they be moved?
No, it can't.
They can't be moved.
Yeah.
Do you know where we're at? Was anything done with this?
Nothing has been,
Nothing's been done.
absolutely nothing.
So we need to keep this on our list.
If you guys want to, yes, it probably should be, yes. I know Derek's gonna have.
All right, let's keep that on the list.
Yeah.
All right, next, we're keeping that one.
And so number 2 is the big upgrade to the system, getting the wires updated out to the business park, and then the new transformer itself. I have notes in my report, if you guys read it, we did make the counter offer of $250 to BPA. haven't heard back yet, so that's kind of where we're at with that one.
So we can still keep those on our list?
Yes, yeah, I mean, that one's gonna get done eventually, it's just gonna take a little while. And then replace streetlights. There did do quite a few that were out here a couple of weeks ago, but I think the goal is to replace the phosphorus or whatever the old orange ones are with the new LED as funding allows.
Do you know what, like, percentage, are we like 20% done?
I
or-
don't know.
Alright, can you find out
Yeah.
what percentage we're at?
Do we have in stock a whole bunch of replacements ready to go, or?
Yes, well, you just changed out, I think, 20 or so a couple of weeks ago, so we might be low.
Has he identified like how many? Like, is there 100 that was needed, or?
It'd be nice to have a metric of like where we're at with
Right.
that project.
Yeah, I can work with them, we can see if I can get a map put together
Yeah.
to show what's been done. And
Cool. Alright. Alright. So is everybody good to keep that on the list?
Yeah, and when we sit back down to do the next year's goals, I can get some more information.
Alright, great.
Emergency services, the new medic unit should be in service here in about 2-3 weeks. Doing the final steps for the licensing for Multnomah County. And I think the radios, but it should be up and running here within the next 2 weeks.
So it is arrived, yay.
Yes,
Okay,
I know, it's been
I know.
here, it's got that, it's got paint, it's just about
The
ready to
late,
go.
all the stickers, okay.
Yeah.
Alright.
The plan with the old one is to service. And apparently there's interest, from a few people that possibly like.
Okay. Great.
The next couple relate to retaining staff, recruiting, retaining volunteers, and providing training. We've been so on it. We lost one full-time paramedic, and to be honest, we lucked out by having Miranda just kind of waiting there as a volunteer.
Okay.
If Miranda wasn't there, we'd probably still be recruiting for that position.
I think it's probably, I just think it'd be important to point out that that's not exactly accurate as far as being luck. I think that that's really a reflection of John's dedication of building like a robust volunteer team,
Yes.
right? I mean, just the fact that he had the bench strength to slide somebody in there, I think just is an example of John's leadership. And I
Agreed,
just don't
yes.
want that to, it wasn't, it was kind of like.
I was quoting him, so I'm not.
He's just a very
humble.
humble person, but I think that it really reflects John.
How does he feel like he's doing with training and, does he have everything he needs, or is there?
I think he'd like to do some more specialized training. I think they meet, I think every Monday night, not Monday, Wednesday. Tuesday, they do their training with volunteers.
Okay.
Tuesday night, right, Eric? Yep, yeah, okay. We have 14 volunteers, I think 14, and we've kind of plateaued at 14. We haven't really gone above that, but we haven't really lost anybody.
How many would he like to have?
Oh, that's a good question, I didn't ask you that one.
It'd be nice to know how many, what's the ideal number?
Yeah,
Sort of like our streetlights, how are we on this,
Yeah, when we do the second half.
I was just gonna say, and also with the example of the paramedic that we lost and having that bench strength to slide somebody else in that position, it'd be interesting to find out from John. Is there anybody that we have on our full-time staff that, paid staff that he thinks that might be leaving or considering leaving in the next 12 months? Do we have somebody in our plan to replace those people if needed?
and part of that is our pay structure. We are definitely lower than Hood River, Odell, Parkdale, West Side Fire, Stevenson. Well, Stevenson is mostly volunteer, or all volunteer. Definitely lower than Multnomah. I did work with Jen, who is with Skamania EMS, the paramedic over there, and got pay rates. We're definitely on the lower end. Our system, the standard in that industry is 56-hour work week. And our system is just not set up that way. They still work 56 hours, but the pay structures doesn't match.
Is that
What do you
why
mean?
we lost the person?
I don't think so. I don't remember why I laughed off the top of my head.
Can you say that again about the 56 hours? I didn't quite follow you on that.
So they work 56 hours a week, or it averages out to, I think they do. How does that work? They do 36 hours. They explained it to me the other day.
It's kind of complicated how they do it.
It is.
Isn't it kind of like 36 hours on, then it's like 48 off, but then since that's only 5 days worth, when you start the next 36, it kind of overlaps and it kind of is like an average of 56?
Yes, that's what it is, yeah. Mhm. And essentially what they do is they'll start it at midnight, or forgot when they start, but essentially they work, they're off the clock at midnight, but nobody wants to leave at midnight, so they just sleep until the next person starts. And if they happen to get called, they'll get paid overtime, but they're staying at the station, not getting paid unless they put on a call.
I think when we do our second half of our planning, that maybe we have John come with this part, he doesn't have to stay for it all.
Yeah.
Or just, I think this is.
Yeah, and we're working on some stuff. I said Jen over at Scamania is doing some research for us to see how we compare to everybody else.
As far as goals from last year, I think those are all good things to keep on there, but in order to move forward, perhaps wage analysis and how.
Well, and you know, I've talked to John, I've talked to other staff where these are very vague goals, like
We need
retain
more.
current staff. Great, how are we gonna do that?
Well, and, you know, a SMART goal, we need to have a specific
Exactly.
measurable, you know.
Exactly, yes.
So, yeah, we need some, numbers to go along with these goals. I think it'd be helpful to find out, are we achieving them or not?
Exactly, yeah.
Shoot.
Denise, you have your hand up?
Hi, just wanted to reiterate what you said, since my husband is a volunteer fireman and one of the 2 volunteers that can drive the truck. So besides the chief, so the staff are overworked and the volunteers are overworked and he needs a lot more. And I don't know the numbers, so it'd be great for you to get them, because I think we could recruit and retain more if our pay matched. I don't even think our chief is getting comparable pay, and he's doing so much. But we'll look at that with our goals, and then, so yes, I say keep all those on there, and then we'll look at it when we get our goals.
We can just maybe take off as COVID allows.
Correct, yeah.
I think it's April 4th, but masks are no longer gonna be required.
In terms of outreach, they did do the National Night Out last summer, which he thought was great. He'd like to do it again. His concern was that they had national, I don't remember which order, like they had the community picnic one weekend and the National Night Out 2 or 3 weeks later. And there were already volunteer staff, and now we were pulling them, telling them to do these community events. So he's afraid that, you know, we're having a hard enough time for them to actually come be on call, let alone these community events. So he wanted to figure out if they could put it in 1 week.
Okay, we can work on that for the
Yeah.
planning.
Mhm.
Okay,
But likes the National Night Out event, wants to do it again, and keep doing that outreach.
cool. Okay, finance.
None of those have been achieved. Well, the funding for City Hall refurbishment, the 2 grants for the roof, that's the only thing that's happened. And then at least in the last budget, there was no funding for additional law enforcement.
Keep those on the list.
Yep.
Any other comments?
Can you find out if any other towns in Hood River County do what we do and pay the sheriff to be here, be in our town?
We're the only one.
Everybody else is unincorporated.
Yeah, there's only 2 towns in Hood River County, us and Hood River.
And Hood River has their own police force, so they're not,
Correct.
okay.
Correct.
There's other towns in the state that do it.
Yes,
Mhm. Yeah, I can do some research.
because for some reason that dynamic feels not right
Like, why are we paying them to be in our town
when it's their
jurisdiction?
elected duty to do so.
And I think the thing is that, you know, by paying them, we're under contract to have them here for a certain amount of time. if we don't pay them for that, then we get them for whatever they're available for, if
Yeah.
that makes sense.
I mean, like that, it makes sense, but they also have to make it so that they also patrol out here when we're not paying them. If we're only paying them to be here during this time, and they choose not to be here any other time unless they're called on a call, then it's like, oh, we're paying you, but you're also, now since we're paying you, you're doing less than you might have been doing anyway.
The other issue is that it's a guaranteed service. As the
Right.
county sheriff is struggling to maintain their staff, we have that allocated staff member that's contractually obligated to be here.
I'm not saying that that's not a good thing.
Yeah.
It feels, like, I don't know how many deputies we have in the county, but I can almost guarantee that Odell and Parkdale, like that mid-valley area is more heavily controlled than we are here, even with us paying for dedicated time.
Do you want to research that out?
Yeah, I would like that.
Okay, that'd be great. And then there's other small cities in Oregon that are similar, very similar to us as well. So that pay for services to guarantee so much time, but if you'd like to research out that would be great. Cause I think it's something we want to keep on the list.
Sheriff English will be here.
Oh, good.
I have no problem paying them for their time and even increasing it. I just, like,
Right.
I wanna make sure that we're not paying them when they should be doing it anyway.
Yeah, for services we're shooting anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And are they spending time in town when they're not contractually obligated to be here? Or like you said,
Yeah,
they're only here for the 24 hours and then
And
they
then the
don't
rest
show
of
up.
the time, they're not here
Go.
unless they're like, unless a call comes and then they're required to come, but like, if you're not doing random patrols, then.
What you wanna know is this actually an effective use of our dollars?
Yeah,
I mean, if we stopped paying them, would we still have them here 20 hours a month anyway? And would it really result in a significant change in crime?
Exactly, because if we're spending money that is not actively benefiting us, then we shouldn't be spending that. And even if it is guaranteed time, we don't want it, like, it gets into that wishy-washy window of, is it beneficial? We don't know, because we don't have the metrics.
keep it on there.
We don't have any police here, we won't have any cases.
Exactly.
It'll be so much safer.
Nobody got arrested here, we're good.
That's
Oh, Lord.
I guess kind of the downfall, that we talked about the crime summary statistics last time, that it's really hard to analyze them objectively, because the more presence you have, it almost makes it seem like there's more crime, but it's just because they're actually catching it, you know?
Yeah, they're here to deal with it, and when they're not there, then there's no record of it, because they're the only ones keeping track of it too, so it gets a little hard to look into, but.
And then from the last community survey, the last 2 years, increased police presence is pretty high.
Or I would like
Yeah.
more police presence too.
Right. We just have to figure out how,
Yeah,
right? That's the big
and what's
question.
the more economical way to do it?
Right. Okay, so we'll keep those on the list, everybody good with that? All right, so. Administration.
We had some things to cross off that list.
Administration?
Yeah, welcome to the new city administrator. I guess the finance director. Okay.
All right, so let's start with the top.
Okay, sorry.
Let's start with the top.
I'm excited.
Hang on. Good Lord, the railroad. Where in
Yes.
the heck? What the heck? Where are we with that?
So, I guess at this point, we got $100,000 grant from ODOT to help cover the cost, but now at this point, the estimated cost is $500,000 to update both the railroad crossings to meet, Union Pacific Railroad standards and, and ODOTs to meet their quiet zone, what they determine quiet zone. And at this point, we don't have the budget. We've already extended the $100,000 grant twice. We can extend it again, but I don't see the point in it, because it's not gonna be enough to cover anything, where we can turn it back over and reapply for $250,000, which still isn't enough, but it's at least enough to get something.
Mhm.
Kathy, do our new council members know what we're talking about?
Could
I think Derek's
They're
probably
already-
intimately familiar with that training.
No,
Okay. Are you familiar with it?
No.
Okay. Want to explain?
Yep, let me bring up Matt. Denise, you have your hand up?
I was just gonna ask if it's required by, and it's involving like Union Pacific, is there not other funding coming from other sources? Just our funding? And the
Correct.
grant that, it seems like Union Pacific or other affiliates that are involved in this should be helping pay for it, no?
They don't care.
In fact,
This is our
they do
request.
care. They do not want the quiet zone.
Correct, yes.
They,
They-
the history on this, from what I understood from Gordon, Sean, was that they do not want this to be a quiet zone. It actually increases risk for them. And so they are not really, that's why we're meeting so much resistance on it. It's safer for the trains to have them blowing their horns. And so for them to not be able to blow their horns increases potential.
Oh, so we're making it so that some of these crossing zones have like.
They don't
like,
keep their home,
They have
have,
some,
like,
there's some,
gates
Yeah.
and stuff and automatic gating and stuff. And
like similar to Stevenson.
Right.
So they have a quiet zone, their gates come down and they don't blow their horn in front of like Clark and Louise and that.
what
So
is the speed limit for the trains, and how does that get enforced?
that's a good
it's a
question.
good question.
I'm pretty sure it's their tracks, so they can do what they want.
No, it's NTSB.
Mhm.
But I've paced them down the road, it seems like they're doing 35, but I don't know. I mean, it's just what I've
That's
seen.
my thought, is that they're 35, but I thought it was like 20, 25.
I don't know how fast they're.
It's it's very convoluted to work with them. Last year we went to Bend, they were there at the conference, the LOC conference, and I was like, oh, I wanna talk to you guys. So Gordon and I both separately talked to them, but got the same answer, is that they really, I'm like, who's the guy or the gal? Who is the person that can say, this is what you need, this is how much it's gonna cost? And the two people there couldn't give a straight answer. So it's like, well, and I said, so you're telling me you don't know? And they're like, no, we don't. It sounds like a lot of red tape,
So,
but we can still,
so which, crossings is it? Is the Industrial Parkway crossing
So
and
there's three crossings, yeah, Industrial Parkway,
Herman Creek?
Herman Creek, and there's a private crossing right here. We have to, from my understanding, upgrade all three of those.
And what about the one at the very end, the very east end?
East End?
Yeah, going out to Government Peninsula?
that's the,
That one?
Yeah.
Never seen anything mentioned about that one.
they can toot their horn there.
That's far enough away from town, people don't care.
I think that is out of our city limits.
Yeah, yes, maybe, yeah.
Yeah, because our city limits comes
Close.
right along that isthmus there, and the road is actually outside of it for a little bit.
Gotcha, yeah, it's in here somewhere, yeah. The biggest one though is, Herman Creek,
Yeah,
Mhm.
cause this driveway needs to essentially move back here. That driveway is too close to the railroad tracks.
That's the problem.
That's one of them.
or
It's-
if the driveway's too close, then isn't Forest Lane too close?
That I don't know. That's just what they told me, is this driveway is too close.
If that driveway is too close, then the Forest Lane itself is too close.
Well, that might be the difference between an actual street and a driveway.
It could be.
Mhm. Hmm.
And there's a driveway on the other side too, that
Mhm.
goes to, there's a couple houses over there.
Yeah.
So it seems like we should keep it on the list and then when we're doing our new goal planning, decide if we're gonna give it back and reapply, look for more money. But it seems like we keep it on the list, right?
I think, at least in my opinion, it is, I guess, what list does it fall on? Does it fall on the 20-year community vision plan versus this is something council wants to see progress on this year right now, knowing that staff has limited time and resources for all of these projects?
I think this is a pretty big project, I don't, it's just been going on for years. I think it's unrealistic to say in 2023 or
Yeah.
2020.
But again, I think it goes back to writing
Right.
smart goals. Maybe
Right.
we need to take this project and it goes on to the 20-year plan, but what
Right.
are we going to do this year to
Right.
work towards that?
Right,
Do we have to do all three at the same time, or do we do one at a time?
We probably do one at a time, yeah.
I'm
And
not
how
sure
much-
about that.
Yeah, I don't think so. I thought there was like a length.
You had to do all or nothing, but I could be wrong on that.
Is that,
I don't know.
maybe we could see if we can get a grant for doing one of them
Mhm.
and do like maybe this one or the industrial park one, where
Mhm.
they're the closest to
Majority of the.
majority of residential places. I mean, there's the other one, Private Drive, which is in, like, in the middle of,
There's some people that live there, but it's not the same as all the people that live.
And with a new subdivision going in as well,
there's the businesses that are in that Herman Creek area too.
right? We'll see if we can, so we'll keep it on, the planning will
See if we can get
create
it
smart
more.
goals and then,
Yeah.
and then see if we can do one at a time. So then it'd be a little over 100,000 to do one, I don't know, we'll see. All right. Next one, fun recreation, education opportunities for kids.
I'm honestly not sure kind of the story behind that one. Gordon never really filled me in on it, unless it's the $10,000 in the community support program line, I don't know.
We originally had a mother and daughter team that kind of did stuff and, like, they got a bus and took the kids to the pool. And it really didn't bring in money. The kids just like would get $1 or something like that. It was my understanding that background checks were not done and there was someone else in the picture that ended up being someone that should not have been allowed to be around kids. That's what,
Okay.
yeah. So, it was dissolved and, we've had, the library has come out before COVID and done craft things with the kids during the summertime, but I don't know if they're gonna restart that. Is
They're
that
gonna have
kind of,
to
Butch,
all-
does that sound about what,
Yeah,
yeah,
Okay.
and of course, Christie's
and then she
program that she
dissolved.
had during the summer.
Yeah,
So should we include that on our new planning and talk about that further? Okay.
Eric, you mentioned restarting some kind of recreational program.
I would like to look into joining the Hood River County.
yeah, there was
Parks
a,
and Rec.
we had done that, and then I can't remember what Gordon said that
The city voted it down.
because we weren't getting anything out of it, I
Yeah.
think, is what was happening.
Yep.
There was nothing that applied, but it may have changed. That'd be a great thing to look into. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I guess that goal can kind of shift focus a little bit to research Parks and Rec.
Okay, and then next one, hire a part-time code enforcement officer. Is everybody good on including that on our goals?
and I think Jordan likes doing that, don't you?
Oh, I love it. And I did get
You have so much free time on your hands.
Yeah.
No,
And that house is on my list, so I haven't forgotten it.
oh,
Just trying to figure out the best way to approach it.
which one?
Crossing her, yeah, there's more than one.
Yeah.
I mean, because that RV has been tagged multiple times, so it's obviously not solving the issue.
Well, I'll talk to you afterwards about it.
Okay.
Okay, all right, so we're gonna keep that on and I think, if we could come up with a way somehow to get a code enforcement officer, I think that would help clean things up, take things off your plate. And then also, that would make them their responsibility and you can oversee them.
And I do have someone that's interested.
And I second that one.
Okay, good. All right, keep that on there. Fourth one, install cameras in strategic locations around town for law enforcement purposes. What did we decide on that? I know we talked about
We
it.
talked about a lot, and I think that really there is, we just never did anything with it, but I think
Right.
that, there are a lot of people that were opposed to, like it wasn't gonna prevent crime, and they didn't feel like it was necessarily gonna be impactful on reducing crime. I think that we were trying to put more ownership and responsibility on the citizens on making your property less inviting, keeping your lights on, encouraging other people to get cameras. I think that we talked about putting cameras on some of the city buildings, like the fire station, I think has them. But I don't think that we,
I don't think we.
Sheriff English came out here and he.
Should we take that off our list?
Yeah.
Like, I guess it goes back, are we talking about city property for those cameras, or are we talking about the city?
we were talking about both, but it seemed like there was maybe some reasons why we couldn't put them in public spaces.
City light poles.
Yeah.
One of the places
I know
in certain intersections.
Gresham's big push is cameras everywhere. How successful they are, I don't know, but I know they're pushing cameras.
Yeah, we ended up going to the neighborhood watch signs.
That's what we did. Okay, so we can take that one off.
I would like to see more data on if they are working in towns, and I don't know if we had one of those speed zone cameras, if we had a high speed zone, would we make the money off those tickets or would it go to Hood River? You know, and also, I don't know who first put that on the list, but I imagine strategic locations still might be useful for reducing drug manufacturing and drug trafficking and I think Butch had mentioned it, like some places I know at Christmas time, sometimes the extension cords go missing, but I know that's a port thing. And they can be useful in stopping the perpetrator. They can be useful in stopping crime. I know it feels weird and big brotherish, but I just like to see some data on is it helping small towns? I don't know. But somebody else put this on the list, so you must have thought it was important once.
It was me, I was the one that was like, I asked to put it on the list. But we didn't get anywhere with it, Denise, it was just, we looked at temporary trailers that could have cameras on them and be, moved around town. But there wasn't a lot of support from Gordon on this subject.
I'm willing to research it, some data on if small towns have done it and has it been useful and where. And then, of course, we would have to bring it to city council and hear from the citizens as well. But it's up to y'all. I'm a member of a bigger team, so.
So leave it on, do some more research and decide whether or not we want to keep it on the list based on what we find out.
Mostly because we are a community and we all want more law enforcement presence, and that might take longer and more money than cameras. I don't know. It could be one step in helping. Yes, I would vote to keep it on, but I don't know about the rest of you.
Can keep it on and.
I think it should be more of a 5-year goal, maybe, than a this year kind of thing.
Cameras are so cheap, I just don't,
Well, cameras are cheap, but it's the keeping the data, it's the running the lines, because and like having the Wi-Fi infrastructure, because if we're putting them like on telephone poles or.
I don't know, I go to Home
Street
Depot
lights.
and buy construction site cameras that run off an LTE SIM card for, couple $100, you know, to secure a
Yeah, but
construction
then
site.
you have to hold that SIM card.
No.
Mm-mm.
A SIM card is what provides the data, so
Oh,
it
okay.
uploads to the cloud. And it's got cloud storage. I'm talking like.
Yeah, and then, like, because now we're a city, we, it has to be secure and public and kept. The records have to be kept, because that's all publicly accessible data, and you can't get rid of it, and it can't be lost, and like, that's where the cost comes in. It's not the camera.
How about if we keep it, I think, because we're on limited time here, so, but how about if we keep this on the discussion for the planning on if there are cameras, how we're gonna do it, and.
It might be that we encourage businesses or we offer financial assistance. So maybe we change it to research cameras in strategic. How about we change install to research?
Okay.
Is that okay?
I think it goes back to a larger picture of what do we want community safety to be? And I think
Right.
that's,
Right,
how do we go about this idea?
so put that on
Mhm.
that's part of the,
Okay.
all right. Okay. Number 5, purchase and install speed limit trailer or equivalent. Yay.
Yay.
Hold on, I don't know if we need to cross that off yet. We put those on Forest Lane as to see whether or not they work. That wasn't like the end goal. And I guess, you know, Brenda's online. I'm just wondering, has she noticed a significant change in speeding on Forest Lane with the installation of the speed limit signs? Just wondering if they're working.
Brenda, are you available?
Maybe not.
He's muted.
Yeah.
But on the subject of like a traffic study, I wonder if it's possible to get some data on how fast are people going on Forest Lane? Especially as we're talking about the bike path and more pedestrians on that road. You sent me that article about the speed limits, and I don't want to get off topic because we're just reviewing these things.
Right.
But one of the things they mentioned in there is that speed limits can be reduced if there's pedestrians and bicyclists.
Right, and the narrow lanes.
Mhm.
All right, so we'll put that on for the goal planning.
Yeah.
And
Alright.
they can be reduced by the city now.
That's right.
Mhm. Okay, good thing. Is that clear?
Yes.
Okay. And then welcome new city administrator and finance director.
Halfway.
Welcome.
Halfway done.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Well, we did both. We're just gonna do one of them.
Yeah, do one up again, yeah.
Okay.
So, I will do this research, and follow up with it when the goal setting session actually happens, or whatever research I can get done in that time frame.
Okay. And then we need to, I know it's on the agenda, but we need to set a date for planning, and I think it's gonna take us longer than an hour.
Yeah, I guess an hour to do this.
Right. So, let's talk from
Yeah, I mean, unless you guys wanna do it now, we have.
we talk about it now, can we come up with a date?
Sure.
For now,
We were way far out last time we were talking, so
pardon me?
last time we were talking, it was like at least a month out.
End of April, yeah.
Okay. Let's see, let's come up with a date. I'm gonna do this without my planner, cause I'm old fashioned, I have a planner.
Yeah, I'm bringing the calendar.
Oh, God. Good
Now
job.
that we have our strategic planning group from the university, are we hoping to coordinate some of their information before our meeting, or it doesn't matter, or?
Separate, so this is for 2023 goals.
Okay.
That vision plan will inform the 2024 goals, but that's kind of the 20-year plan, so.
Okay,
At this point, this is what this council wants as a priority for the next 8 months, or 9 months.
So if I remember right, April 1st, there's an event, we didn't want to do it that day. April 8th, that's the day before Easter, there's an event.
April 15th is an event.
15th.
April 15th is the PTO,
Oh, that's the
SEO night.
Thank you.
But
My third
You mean-
one I missed.
what is April 1st? Is it the museum prom?
Correct.
And I'm out of town.
Oh, okay, because that's at night. Okay. And then,
The 8th, that's in the morning.
And then, then the 22nd?
On the 8th, we could do afternoon. That's
what's
a
on the
lot.
8th? Is that the egg hunt?
Egg hunt,
Easter weekend, yeah.
Easter weekend.
Happy,
Oh,
were you gone that time? period, the 8th? I think Happy is gone sometime in April.
We've got the, League of Oregon Cities Conference in Seaside,
25th and 26th.
25th and 26th.
Might have talking about your trip out of town, the 4th or the 7th.
Oh, yeah, that's right, I'm gone the first week, that's right. That's next week, actually.
And then Butch, you're gone the 8th, right? Remember, I think.
No,
Huh? The
I
8th,
think
I
it was
was
the 18th that I was.
Oh. Okay.
No, I didn't.
We could do the afternoon.
The only thing I got is Seaside.
Okay. But it looks like. Let me see.
We could do the afternoon on the 8th, but it sounds like most everybody has that.
Are you going to Burns?
I'll be here. Yeah, listen, if I need a beer, I'll be here.
and that's not conflicting with your family Easter time to do that. I don't mind the afternoon, the 8th, but
Is everybody good with the 8th?
Yep.
Perfect.
What time?
1 o'clock?
Maybe actually, wait, I think I have something going on maybe.
What
Sorry.
time do they plan on that Easter egg hunt?
It's gonna be in the morning. They should be all wrapped up. Once it starts, it goes pretty fast. In and out. I haven't figured out the times
Oh.
yet. Keep it similar to last year, whatever that was. I don't
so
remember.
Sean, you're gonna be gone all day on the 8th?
I'm checking, I have,
And the 15th, that's your big event, right, the school?
no, I just have something in the evening of day, so like at 6.
So if we did like,
We can do like a noon to 5, get some lunch.
can we do like 12:30, just because it might be cutting it close to the egg hunt?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, 12:30? Does that work for everybody?
12:30 to 5, yeah.
Okay,
And then have lunch?
Yeah,
Okay,
and lunch and
here? All right, on the 8th. Okay. Any diet restrictions?
gluten-free, gluten-free.
Any other diet restrictions?
I'm not allergic to vegetables. So what time are we going on the 8th? Noon to 5, is that right?
12:30 to 5.
What's this called again? This is a 2023 goal setting?
Mhm. Yeah. Okay, we got through it.
Yay.
We have 5 minutes to spare. Everybody needs to go.
adjourn this meeting.
Oh, adjourn this meeting.
Yeah, all right. Everybody on Zoom, this was a work session to review our 2022 council goals. This meeting will be ending and the new council meeting will be starting here in just a minute. Thank you.
5 minutes at 7.